Something more?
My other question is, can I maintain my dominant high vibration while...
So what does that mean? My dominant high vibration, what does that mean? I've practiced myself into the resonance with where the dominant high vibration is. In other words, it's not my high vibration, it's I've tuned myself to the high vibration. That high vibration is there. Tune to it or don't. That's an important distinction, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So it's your propensity to tune to it that we're talking about, not ownership of it. This isn't like a college degree. Once you achieve it, it's yours forevermore. You're either in it or you're not in it, depending upon how you're focused. And how you're focused right now has to do with what your propensity to focus is. That's why 30 days of doing this makes it more likely that you can maintain it. We cut you off all of a sudden there in that, but you're really ready to hear these distinctions. You're all ready to hear these distinctions. So say that again.
I'll make my question, I'll go directly to the question. Are there places in the world where it's more challenging?
Of course. There are subjects that are more challenging. There are questions that are more challenging. But what difference does that make? In other words, of course we say, start with something that's easy until you've shown yourself. But once you've shown yourself alignment, then the momentum is in the greater challenge, isn't it?
Even if I have to ignore everything that goes on around.
You don't have to ignore everything that goes on around you. You tune yourself to the frequency that only shows you the things that are of benefit to you around you. In other words, there's a difference between ignoring that and focusing on that. Even though it means the same thing. If you're focused on that, you've ignored that. But if you're focused on what you're ignoring, you're not ignoring it. You're focused on it.
What I was going to ask is, even if you mean doing that, even in the midst of momentum that has been created by surrounding environment?
Well, the thing is, if there's momentum that has been created by a surrounding environment, and you've been on your high-flying disc, you're not caught up in that momentum because you've got a different momentum going. It's this kind of thing going on. Okay. And if you're swept up in that momentum, then you've joined that other disc, you see. So the question is really a distorted question, isn't it? It's sort of like saying, if I'm not on my high-flying disc, then I'm not on my high-flying disc, right? And we say, right. So, can I get on my high-flying disc if I'm not on my high-flying disc? No. If you're aware that you're not on your high-flying disc and that's what's active within you, you can't get there from there because the momentum will hold you there. So how do I get on my high-flying disc? By getting on when there's no momentum and then getting the momentum going. If the train's going 80 miles an hour that way, you don't want to all of a sudden go 80 miles an hour that way. It's a painful transition. So usually the train slows down and then the train speeds up going the other direction, and this is sort of the same thing. So now what? We know that you are hearing what we are saying, and we know that you are getting what we're saying. So where does that lead you in your list of questions? What now?
You mean if I have any other questions?
Yeah, we mean how do the previous questions feel now that you know what you know?
It feels much easier.
So, do you create your own reality?
Yeah.
And does that mean you go off to yourself, or does that mean you integrate into the world?
I integrate.
Does that mean that as you're integrating into the world, does that mean you are meshing vibrations with other, or does it mean you're maintaining your specifically chosen vibration as you focus into the world? So your perception of the world is about your vibrational frequency, not about the condition of the world.
Right.
So as a prosecutor, you're going to have the capacity to see value in people that almost everybody else has given up on. Oh. You're going to evoke the best from everyone, even those that most people don't want to evoke the best from. Ooh. Because in a prosecuting world, We want to separate good and evil, and we want to condemn the evil. And we want to separate the good from the bad by our standards, not anybody else's, by our personal human standards. That's the thing that you're really contemplating here, because you believe there's good in everyone. And the source within you knows that there is. And the source within you is not eager about focusing on the less than good in everyone. And it's not easy to be a prosecutor in a world today without focusing on the less than good in the one you're prosecuting. That's the vibrational discord that's going on. So it's our expectation that you're wanting to be an advocate for someone rather than an advocate against someone.
Definitely.
Yeah.